Just hold.
I want to know where my
Hi, everybody. Look who's here. Really kind of the woman of the hour who's got everybody like buzzing and talking. No, I mean, you kind of,
oh
you know, we're how we all are in the soap world. It's a buzzy role. And here we are with Colleen Zenk, one of my dear, dear friends. So I mean, I'm so glad we're getting to finally do this. I have not spoken to you since you've come to The Young and the Restless.
no,
And of course, her role is Barbara Ryan on As the World Turns, classic for 32 years. I believe you played the part.
that's right.
How are you? You're in
I
Jersey
am I am
City.
well, and I'm in Genoa City. And it's not Oakdale, folks, that's for sure.
You're in Genoa City.
I'm
Yes.
in Genoa City, Wisconsin, and not really, but fictionally.
You know,
Uh,
I'm from Wisconsin.
Pardon?
I'm from Wisconsin in real life. Yeah. I grew up in Milwaukee and Genoa, there was a Genoa City.
How do I not know that?
Yeah.
Because I'm from Northern Illinois.
I grew up in Milwaukee.
I uh,
Oh, see, and we're Midwesterners. And don't they
I
get along
know
the best with
that
you?
that
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, makes sense. Right. So tell me now, so have you been kind of, so you got into this role, you were kind of very surprised. I believe Josh Griffith remembered you from writing for you for Barbara and As the World Turns. So how has this whole thing been? Now, how many months in are you, would you say?
I arrived here mid-October.
Right.
I showed up. Actually, Josh called me the first week of August, I believe, and actually he emailed me and said, "Call me. Are you interested? I have something for you." And I picked up the phone and called him immediately, and he said that was fast, and I went, "Uh-huh." And uh, he told me what it was, and I said, "Okay, I'm all yours. Do with me whatever you will." And he has been.
He certainly has.
And so I had, there was an NDA involved, so I couldn't talk about it. And I got out here the middle of October, started shooting right away, and shot 5 episodes the first week I was here, which was one of the most daunting weeks I've ever had in my career. It was really tricky for me because I didn't know the people I was working with. I didn't know the staff here except for Vivian Gundiger, who was one of the
Right.
producers here, who was at World Turns. The stage managers, I know Fritz Breckheller, I've known since he was a baby too. And a couple of cast members, Peter Bergman, I've known since I was 22, 23. And Christian LeBlanc, I've known since he was 22 because he was on World Turns. Other than that, I didn't know anyone here, and I'm walking into an entirely new environment. I've never worked in California before. I've only ever been out here for award shows or PR things, and a couple times to see my daughter, Georgia, who lives here in
Right.
town, but not to work. And I've been in the building before, visiting people, or when we came out to do the talk, which I don't think was here. I think it was in Studio City. But it, it was terrifying. I was terrified to be back in the grips of daytime, meaning all of a sudden you've got 100 scripts that you've got to work on immediately, and you just can't sit down. It's like being on a hamster wheel because it keeps going and
Right.
going and going and going and going. And I was not used to that anymore.
Did you have any idea how off her rocker this character was going to be?
I knew she was going to be um, a villain. I knew that she was out. I knew what her sights were. I knew the backstory. And I knew that she was out for major revenge. Did I know how off her rocker was going to be? No.
I just was wanting to know, and I had talked to Haley Aaron about this, and I'll get to Haley and you in a minute.
Okay.
She was talking, and Amelia Heinley, I actually talked about this. What was this like the day or the days you shot when the whole Newman clan was at Aunt Jordan's house
Yeah,
and it's all unleashed, right? She knifes Nick, she drugs them all. She's got
that was
Nikki.
like
What was that like to shoot all of that? Was it
I was
insane?
terrified.
Yeah.
It was insane. And plus we had a stunt coordinator there, a fight coordinator. And there, I'm back in the middle of the family on the show. It's their show, their sandbox, not mine. I'm just the interloper. And all of a sudden I'm being thrown this character that is so out there and so crazy. And for me, it was trying to figure out where that fine line is between not making her a cartoon villain and making her as real as possible, and yet bringing the insanity forward, because she's clearly a very damaged woman.
I mean, that plot in that house,
Yeah.
why it got everybody so it was so gripping is
Yeah.
because they did go there. That was the thing. Like, are they really gonna hook Nikki up to the IV? Are they really
I
gonna
know.
are they really gonna have them all drugged out? Is her plan really gonna and it was getting and it was like it didn't end and it was just and it was like gripping drama to see
Yeah.
this plot that she had.
Yeah. When the scripts arrived, before I got here, I called I called Josh and I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." I went, "You're kidding." No. I went, "Okay. All right. I see how far you want me to go." And I've got to take her there. You can't play a character like this halfway. You've got to
No.
jump in with both feet and go, "Okay, I'm fully committed." No pun intended. I'm fully committed to making her as deranged as possible. And so the audience understands where her demon is inside of her that she's tried to also implant into Claire. And I think what I read every script, even the ones I'm not in. I read them all front to back. I'm one of those actors. And
Which is interesting because so many I get a mix of all the years I've done this. Some will read them and
mhm.
some only read my part, my part, my part, my part. And then
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
you don't have context, right, of whatever else is going on, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. My feeling is if you don't know what's going on around you, you don't know how that is affecting how you need to play things and how the other characters perceive you, which will also then kind of enhance or guide you as to where your character is leading as well. So when I read the scenes and I go, oh wow, it scenes I'm not in, but scenes between, say, Nikki and Victoria, or Nikki and Victor, or Victoria now and Claire, and then Nikki and Claire, and you see the humanity with what's coming out of them. And then you have to balance that with what I'm playing, which is like from a different planet. Um, I think the dichotomy of that and the contrast is what makes a lot of it work.
Yeah. I mean, when I thought the classic shot with her up in the vent,
I
you will
read that
never
and I
that will be
howled.
that
I
will be
howled. I loved
that
it.
will be in show history. Like up in the vent, like in the vent. It's like did
Well,
they say,
they kept saying,
Colleen, open your bug your eyes. Like, what did you have to do?
we had to shoot it a couple times just to make sure that my eyes were like right. It was so much fun. And there are a lot of people have said, how did she fit into the vent? I went, it's not a vent. It's her escape room, for Pete's sakes. This woman has thought ahead.
Thought it all out. And
Yeah.
it was so funny. I was talking to Amelia, I think at the Emmys, and she's like, "What do you mean? Like, when we all drank the water or whatever was in the thing, like the drugging of them. She even had that all down. Like in 5 seconds, you're all going to go. She had it. Like that's pretty, yeah.
Yep. Yep. I mean, when, for example, on today's show, when she shows up with in the prison with a cell phone,
Yes,
and of
how'd she
course,
get one?
she's Jordan.
Yeah, it's
She has
Jordan.
her ways.
Yeah, Jordan. So she has a cell phone. Yeah. And then
She has
she
a cell phone.
tortures Claire
She calls Claire. She
and
calls Claire right
by
after Claire's had this wonderful bonding time when Nikki came to see her on her own. Nikki leaves, and Claire gets a phone call from her mother, and it's me. And I had a few things to say to her about the Newmans, because the last time that she and I saw each other was in the prison.
prison.
We had the confrontation across the table. That was the episode that was on January 12th. Yeah,
Right.
I thought those scenes were so well written,
Great scenes.
so well written, and my God, Haley Aaron is phenomenal. Phenomenal. What a casting coup that was. Oh my God. The girl is very, very talented. And so we had these scenes in the penitentiary in the last, and what happened is that she turned on me in those scenes, which then like spun Jordan out of control. And then Jordan exploded at her as Jordan was being taken away by the
Taken
prison
away.
guard. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Because she was like, oh, you sided with them. So basically, in
yep,
her mind now, I'm thinking Jordan's lumped her in.
yep.
So
So,
now she's right.
right. So this is the first time that Claire had heard Jordan's voice again, except in a nightmare
And the nightmare earlier. Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the first time she's heard from Jordan. And Jordan tried to tell her once again to wrap her into her world, how much she loved her and how much she needed her. And the Newmans are out to annihilate her. Those are the words I used, annihilate her and destroy her life, and that they don't love her and don't believe anything they say. And of course, Claire was able to stand up to Jordan and
Right.
say, they do love me, they want me, I'm going to be a part of their family. And the last thing that Claire says to Jordan is, I want you dead, dead. And she hangs up.
I
And
don't think things are going to end well for Claire.
that's today's air show.
Right. Yeah.
And Jordan is left holding an empty phone and just kind of crumples against the brick wall, the stone wall. And all you can, as an audience member, all you can think is, what is she going to do now? There you go.
There you go. And so it does keep going. People have been really like, oh, how are they going to, and they've done this they often mention the character of Sheila Carter.
And I
I don't think
understand that, but I don't think it's the same.
I don't either. I don't either. I think they're thinking it only because she had 9 lives and she kept going and didn't get
Right.
caught. I get that part of it, but it's so different,
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't see that. I was going to say, so when you had these scenes, like did you watch your work back? Do you watch yourself?
I mean, yeah, of course I do.
Because some actors won't. They were like, I don't, I felt
No.
it in the scene. A lot of them tell me, Colleen, I watch myself. I know how I felt. So I don't want to watch it later because then it'll be different than how I felt. And I'm like, but don't you want to watch to make an adjustment?
I've never been that actor. I
Okay.
always want to see the work. I want to see how it plays on the screen. I learn from that. I want to see how other characters are relating to my character. I want to see their reactions. Because a lot of times when you're on the set, if someone's back is to you, you don't know what they're playing if they're facing the camera. I want to see exactly, I mean, that's kind of like the director producer brain side of my brain. I want to see the whole picture, and that informs me and helps me as an actor. And so that's what I do. I, I've always done that. I've always done that.
The scenes with Melody Thomas Scott, there's several of them, but the one
I
where you're
know.
in the farmhouse and you've got a gun and there's the gun and they have the fight. What was it like for you two? Were you like, we're gonna have to do a cat fight? Like, because a lot of women don't love doing cat fight scenes. So how were you
We
with
had so much fun.
okay.
We had of course I adore Melody. Oh my God. We were even like my first couple of days when we had all those incredible scenes at the lake house,
Uh,
my first week. And Melody and I just kind of bonded because we realized that we're kind of what she is here, I was over there in Oakdale.
right.
We're very similar. We also were both child actors. I mean, we came up in the business. We're alike in a lot of ways. And I think that helps a lot, even though she has a very different approach to the way she works. She doesn't want to read ahead. She didn't want to know what's happening. Though we had a conversation yesterday and she knows more than she admits.
Of course.
Which was fun. But we were excited. We were ready to go. And the fight coordinator was there. We each had stunt doubles, which I thought they did such a brilliant job in the way it was shot. It was shot so well. I don't know if you can tell
Where it ends and where it starts, like where
where there's a double and
yeah,
where there's not.
right.
There are only two because I've watched that episode a few times now in the cabin. As that was the December 26th
You
episode.
got the dates down.
I do. Um, if for those who have not ever seen the cabin episode, that was December 26th, you can roll back to Paramount Plus or
Must see. A
but
must see. Yeah.
um, but I just felt the whole episode was so well done. And then when I bring Claire out in the wheelchair, it just is like a gasp. It was I mean, I've had people watch it who it gasped when they saw me bring her out.
And what it reminded me of what old movie with the wheelchair? It reminded me of one of the classic. Was it the not?
Yeah, whatever happened to Baby Jane?
Hey, she wheels her out.
I mean, I feel that's part of what I'm
I think
doing.
that's what you're
I'm
doing.
playing Betty Davis and whatever happened to
A
Betty.
little misery and a little bit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, a little misery too.
little misery. I think, which was amazing. Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
it was so funny when I interviewed Haley when she first came. She goes, "I was just so glad to finally there. All I was saying was Aunt Jordan, Aunt Jordan, Aunt Jordan, and there was never there was no Aunt Jordan. So she was finally so glad that there wasn't. But it, does Jordan have a last name that we know?
It's funny. The fans have given me a last name. They're calling me Jordan Howard. But how can I be a Howard
I don't think so.
if my sister had married a Howard, right? I'm not a Howard. I don't know who I am. I don't have a last name, as far as I know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
It still connect you with somebody.
With somebody.
Uh, what did you think about how Melody is playing this going, I mean,
Oh
she's
my
the
God.
best at playing.
I
It's so,
I
her battle with the bottle is always the best on soaps for sure.
she's stunning. She's stunning. And the commitment to it as an actor is, oh my God. Please, someone give her the Emmy right now. Don't wait till June. She's fabulous. She's really fabulous. And what she's doing with this story, and we've talked because it's different than the way it's been played out before when she's gone off the wagon, because this was forced on her. And so her scenes are just so poignant. Scene she had today's air show with Jack, um,
Ugh.
they were so poignant and just heartbreaking. You just feel for the character. I've seen different posts from different fans saying, "My God, I've never felt as sorry for Nikki as I do now," and and just the pain in her face. It's a beautiful portrayal,
It
and
really,
very difficult to
I
watch.
know it's so hard to watch. And
So
even, and
hard.
the whole premise of it though was really awful. To have her, hooked up to an IV of booze, and then, she got leaving the booze. It was just so
Oh, it's
horrible.
heinous,
Heinous.
heinous.
Right. So why does she hate Nikki so much?
Well, she hates Nikki so much because Nikki married Victor.
Right.
Nikki's the one who won in the end over her sister. And then her sister ended up not surviving. Um, and so Jordan blames Victor and Nikki for not only her sister's death, but I think she also blames them for her own life because it affected her vicariously because of her sister. The Jordan's a mess. She's a mess, a very devious, evil mess, but she's a mess, and smart as a whip. And that will be interesting to see how that plays out.
So kind of what's coming up in a broad stroke. Is it heinously horrible? Like, what is she? Is it bad?
You're gonna have to watch, Michael.
Okay.
You think I'm gonna tell you?
I
I can
just
tell
want a
you.
little, like, I'm assuming it's bad.
Get that
Um,
out of me.
okay. I have so many people here wishing you well.
That's
Uh,
so sweet.
um, Mysterious is, does Colleen wish she was brought in as a business advisor for YNR? YNR?
No.
She liked the James and Becky and vibe of Jordan.
It's very Steinbeckian. It's very Steinbeckian. You know, playing Barbara during the evil times of Barbara, which was after the boathouse explosion when I was in special effects makeup for a year.
A year.
Um, a year, a year with scars and everything. Yeah, a year sitting in hair and makeup getting deranged every morning. It was, as an actor, it was really a wonderful curve for me to do that. I had never played anything that dark before. This is far darker and far deeper, and into the depths I go. And part of the reason I go back and I looked at a lot of stuff I did on World Turns during the Hogan Sheffer years, and Barbara's dark area. I just wanted to take a look at my work and see how much further I had to go with Jordan. And that was useful for me. And even looking back, my first week here at the lake house with those scenes you were speaking of with the Newman family, I was so nervous. I was so petrified. I I didn't know. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing at all, with any of it. But I think that played to my advantage because the scenes were so intense. They were so intense.
David Michaels is here and said, "Love you, Colleen."
Oh, hello.
Visaro Serena Colleen is this gorgeous, classy, and a wonderful actress. They mentioned AR72 is mentioning the bad seed had a scene where the little girl pushes an old woman down the stairs.
I forgot about that. You're
Not about that. You're
absolutely,
absolutely right.
absolutely right. Yep.
Novella Princess is saying, just call her Jordan Stenbeck.
I love that.
Um, yeah. Lots of love here. Love you, Colleen from Vancouver, British Columbia. Joel says, thank you for having Colleen on. Have been a huge fan since her glorious Barbara Ryan days. They were pretty glorious, right? I mean, come on.
They were. They were. I had the best clothes in television.
Best clothes.
Best wardrobe, best, hair, makeup. They made me look like $1 million. And I loved that character. I loved that character.
Do
I
you
love the
remember?
character because this, you never knew what she was going to do. And rather than like a flat ingenue, which is how she started out. Um,
Did
and
you lobby for
it
that?
was it was the Dobsons that took me down. I mean, we just lost Bridget
I know.
Dobson,
I know.
and but it was Bridget and Jerry Dobson that took Barbara down that different road in the beginning, and then it was Doug Marland who really flipped her around.
But were you lobbying for that at all? Did you want her to be bad?
I flipped out. I never saw that coming, and it was a very difficult transition for me. And I would have to go into the office with Doug Marland and with our then executive producer Bob Calhoun, and they would sit there and they would try to help me get through this barrier, this wall I put up, resisting making Barbara into that bitch because she was
She was
a
a bit.
very bitchy young girl. But eventually I succumbed.
And how did you rationalize it from what she had gone through? Because she felt so would have
Well,
fight.
the only rationalization was the fact that back then Brian McCall dumped her for Shannon, and um, and of course I got even with Shannon bringing Duncan McKechnie over from Scotland,
Right?
who she was, if you recall all that.
Yes. You think that was the turn?
Yeah, it was definitely the turn.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had worked with some amazing co-stars over at World Turns. I mean, Benjamin Hendrickson,
Yeah.
Trent Dawson, Ben, yeah, Ben, we lost Ben, and
Yeah.
I thought he was just such a great actor because everything was
Yeah.
so simple
Yeah.
but it was so touching and real and all of that.
He was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man. Very soulful. Just a beautiful human being. And it was a tragedy, a real tragedy.
And then
I
yeah, and then Anthony Herrera,
oh
who's
God.
what was that like? I mean, because we remember all the Barbara James.
I went through love-hate periods with
I
Anthony.
think
In
I
the beginning,
remember this.
I
Yeah,
know in the beginning I was just it kind of terrified a little bit because he 11 years older than I, and that was one thing. And the other thing was that he was this southern boy from Mississippi playing the Prince of Sweden. It was plus he comes from he's Herrera. He has a Hispanic background, and so he's such a mix. But on top of that, he was so educated, so literary, and he was always quoting poetry, Shakespeare. People don't know that about him. He was really something. And so in the beginning I was just mystified by him, and then we bonded, and then there was another, we went through another transition where he was driving me crazy. He was just driving me crazy. um it was a work ethic thing at that point. Just it was all about work. And then we went the full course and went back completely enamored and in deep friendship, and until the very end I adored him.
yeah, he was amazing. And then there was a scene the other day, somehow Barbara and the Bull came up, but she was being read. What happened when they told you that was going to happen?
You mean going to Spain?
Yeah, and then there was a scene where she's almost run over by a bull.
Right. Well, that was Mary Alice Bunham who was producing at that point. And we went to Spain. We knew we were going. We were all incredibly excited. And it was not just Barbara, James, and Gunnar that were going, but it was also Steve and Betsy. And because they shot in Spain pretending it was Greece. So we had two storylines going in January. And when we got there, they had just had their first major snowstorm in 20 years. And the entire South of Spain was covered in ice and snow. And they had to shovel out the bull ring at Ronda, which is the smallest bull ring in Spain. And because it's so small, it worked really well to shoot in, and beautiful and old as the city is, because we shot all over the city and in the countryside. I mean, I knew about the bull. Clearly, I wasn't in the ring with the bull, and clearly they had a matador in a blonde wig, looking like Gunner, who dealt with the bull. But it was exciting. It was thrilling, and because of the snowstorm, we couldn't shoot for a long time, so we were there for 3 weeks. It was a 3-week remote. It was pretty great.
Oh my gosh. So then you come to we're at the end and we're at the finale of As the World Turns, and you get reunited with Henry, with Trent Dawson.
Yeah. Oh my
And that's
God.
kind of how you go off the air. We leave Barbara kind of with
Yeah.
Henry.
Yep.
How did you feel about how it ended up for her?
I was thrilled. I was thrilled that Barbara finally found a guy who got her, and a guy who could accept her for who she is, was. And she found a guy that was fun, that sure he had baggage, but don't we all? And he made her feel young again. Trent is 18 years younger than I am. And we just had a 18 years younger, 18, 19, somewhere, 18 or 19. And we just had so much fun together. We've been wanting to work together for years because we knew that we had similar styles in our work ethic, but we also had similar humor. And we both also come from, the theater. And we had really wanted to work together. There was only one other time that we got to do that. And that was when, I think when Craig had me kidnapped and stashed away in a cabin, and Emily was coming and shoving food through a doggy door to feed me. And Henry came and dressed in a fireman's, full uniform, and got Barbara with the hose through through the doggy door. And there were very funny scenes, but that was the only other time that they actually had ever put us together. So when they finally made that decision that last year, I was over the moon. And when it started happening, Gene Passanante said, "Why didn't we do this years ago?" I went, "Well, I was trying to tell you it would work." But so we had a wonderful, wonderful time working together. I adore him.
And so what do you think Barbara's doing now?
Dancing. Barbara and Henry are dancing. Barbara and Henry own some club somewhere.
And so
And
when you finished those scenes and it was your, I don't know, did you tape things out of order? Or was that your last scene?
yep.
So you
The
fit
last thing that we did was the
last dance, right?
dance
Just
underneath our very own mirror ball in our living room. Yeah.
and when you
The
left that
last
day, how were you?
A mess. We were all a mess. Everybody stayed, and set by set, everybody stayed. And then there was a party on the set for everybody, the crew, everybody. There were a few speeches I spoke, and Chris Goutman spoke, and I'm trying to remember who else spoke. Don. And then we went out afterwards. We went to a local place, and we were all a mess. We were a mess. It was tough.
Yeah. And then did you have was it hard detaching yourself from Barbara afterwards? Or were you kind of like,
No, no, you know why? Because I had already been cast in a musical in the city,
that's right.
and I started rehearsals 2 weeks later. So I was back on stage. in musical theater. And it was a beautiful way for me to get away from it all. And that first year, all I did was go from show to show, from play to play to play to play.
That's right.
And then the following year were the Emmys, which I got nominated for, which was out of the blue. I was shocked. And and then I went to the Emmys, I came back and I went right back into another show. And so because of theater, I was able to really keep away from Barbara.
Right. So that was a blessing actually, because it probably helped you, I would think.
Um, yeah, I would not have been able to if I was still on World Turns, if we were still revolving, I would never been able to do any of the theater projects that I did.
Right. Somebody's saying here, Jeannie, I still say it would have been great if the reason Jesse Lee Sofer left Chicago PD was to search for Jordan and bring her in, and then Trent Dawson would see her in jail.
Oh my God, Jesse. Oh my God. How about him?
How about him?
How about him? I'm so proud of
Did
him.
you ever think, or did you know like he's going to go somewhere?
Oh no, I knew. Oh, that kid is so good. He is so good. And he's got his head on his shoulders. He was raised the right way. And he's a doll. He's an absolute doll. Good human being. Love
You'd
him.
be fine if Jesse and Trent stopped by to see Jordan.
Hey, I'm seeing Jen Landon on Friday.
Oh my God.
I know, I just talked to her.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's
Yeah.
great. So do you have a favorite Jordan scene that you've done? Like what's the top, or have we not seen it yet?
There's a lot you haven't seen.
But it,
I think what you have seen of what is been already been on the air. The you've named them. There have been a bunch of them. I mean, between the lake house, the first scenes in the lake house, and then the Christmas cabin with Nikki and Claire, that standalone show, and then January 12th, which was the scenes with Claire and Jordan. And I loved today's air show. It was a little weird and wacky. And you could really kind of see that Jordan is not all there. She's in a place that she doesn't think she belongs in, and she thinks she's being persecuted in there. We could get political about that, but we won't.
we won't.
Um, some people think that they're being persecuted.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have to go over them.
But I think yeah. Haley,
Oh my God.
okay. So I knew her work from General Hospital, and she had won a Daytime Emmy for her work on that show, right?
As Maura West's daughter. Yes.
Maura West's daughter. And then Maura had this big
I
scene.
know. I saw it.
Saw that, right?
Oh my God.
That was like Maura West,
Oh my God.
amazing,
Oh my
right?
God. Yeah.
And then like what you're saying, I've watched Haley in this role, and I'm just like, because I didn't know what to expect.
She's so good.
You knew there was going to be a twist because she couldn't have just been this goody goody assistant thing. I just didn't know where it was
Where it's
going.
gonna go. Yeah.
Again, you're also kind of feeling bad for her, but she did terrible things to the Newmans too. She's
Yep.
smart, but so it's making it. Do you guys like in your rehearsal process? Do you guys run lines a lot, or are your processes similar? Or
I like running lines a lot, but in this format here, we
there's
don't have the time to do that the way we did in World Turns. Besides that, um, there's really no green room here that people hang out in. At World Turns, we had a green room, and we had hair and makeup where people would come in and we'd run lines with each other and we'd find each other. I don't see that happen here. Um, we run lines on the set before we tape each scene, and that's hard because I've had a lot of words and I've got a lot coming up, and it's a different format, and it's tricky for me because I'm an old person.
Yeah, I got you. I hear ya. I was gonna say, tell me about Eric Braeden. Because
Oh God.
the funniest line, and I don't have it correct, so maybe everybody in the chat or maybe but wasn't there was this line when he was stuck in the house and she was trying to poison him? He's like, this bitch is it was like this crazy bit. It was a funny delivery of a line. And I remember was it this crazy bitch or something, it was something like something. And I thought he did it so great. And I was wondering what has been your interaction with him and how was it with him?
He's been so dear to me and so sweet to me, and he's like a big teddy bear, and not what I expected at all, because he's Victor Newman, and uh, but my God,
Sweet man. He's a sweet man.
oh, he's a doll.
Yeah.
He's a doll. And I did a little background search trying to figure out where he was from in Germany because my grandfather is from Germany. It turns out my grandfather is from the next town from where Eric was from. And so we've had all kinds of discussion and talk and one thing that happened with the scenes at the lake house when he throws me across the room and he said, "My God, you're an athlete." I went, "Well, I'm an old dancer." He said, "Let's do it again." But he's been wonderful to work with. I mean, I am so lucky with the people that I'm working
You
with.
got the big ones at the
Oh
big.
my God. Oh my God.
How was Amelia?
Amelia, I haven't worked with her enough yet,
Ah,
frankly.
true.
Not enough, but I love where she's so, she's so still. And she's like the opposite, but she's not like that in real life. She's as animated as anybody in real life, but she turns into Victoria and she becomes this creature, this very still creature. And I find that fascinating because that's hard to do if you're an animated person in real life. It's
Well,
very, very hard to do.
you bring something up. I think what we'd love to see is the battle of the two moms. Really
Uh,
Victoria and Jordan should really be going at it. I know there's
well,
Nikki, but I'm saying I hope okay. Because
I'm not writing it. I'm just saying
I
the
don't know,
word.
but I'm saying like she took Victoria's child.
I know.
I think there should be a smackdown showdown with that.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm not playing with you. We'll see. I don't
And you
know.
met Joshua. How is Joshua?
I love Josh. I when I came, I said, "Josh, the last time I saw you was 20 years ago at the Crosby golf tournament." He went, "What?" I said, "Yeah, you were a kid and my children were little and we played together." And he didn't remember. He didn't remember. But I hadn't really talked to him since then. We see each other at the Emmys and stuff, but that doesn't mean you have conversations with everybody. Um, but he's a doll. Oh my God. He's the Michael Park of Young and the Restless. He's got that same kind of energy and comic timing like Michael Park does, and he's a doll. Oh my God. And his children. Oh, I met his son the other day. Woo, they're beautiful.
I know he's got a beautiful family. They're
Yeah.
incredible. So
Everybody does.
Visario,
Yeah.
I know,
Everybody.
but
They're just all
you can't be on The Young and the Restless if you're not beautiful and have beautiful children
who are restless.
who are restless. Um, Visario says, would love to see Roger Howarth play Jordan's son on YNR. They just want to bring everyone out there. No.
He can come in and play my lover, not my son.
What was that like on World Turns? Having
Well, I love Roger. I love Roger. But when he was cast, I said, "Excuse me, I'm not old enough to be his mother." So Roger and I always, we would joke around and about that. And at the end of some kind of big battle scene that Barbara and Paul would be having, at the end of the scene, they go cut. He'd always say, "Mom, you're hot." Really cute, cute,
right,
very cute.
right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love him.
he's great. Great. And I was going to say, do you know how many greats came from As the World Turns?
Um, I'm sorry, once
How
again,
many greats came from As the World Turns? I mean, look at all the people that came out of there and
it
either continue to work or went on to motion pictures and stuff. I mean,
started with James Earl Jones, my God, yeah, unbelievable, unbelievable. And even in my time there, we had Marissa Tomei, we had Julianne Moore, Meg Ryan, um, James Vanderbeek, um, Amanda Seyfield was there. Seyfried was there. Who else am I missing?
you got
Jessica Stoffer,
Trace
pardon?
over. Yeah. Yeah.
And Jen Landon.
And
But I'm thinking about and Laura Lee Bell was there. No, I'm sorry. Sharon Case was there for a while, way back when, which I've never crossed with her, and I didn't even know that till she brought it up to me.
say I used to be in.
Yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
but
So,
yeah,
so you have gotten this kind of second amazing role on daytime television. What
unbelievable.
is that? What is it like for you personally? What does this mean for you that you got to, at this point in your life, come back to a West Coast show, get to do, act and in this amazing role? I mean, this is it
It's
kind
a
of
gift.
gift.
It's a gift. It's so unexpected. It's I've been through a lot. It's been a rough decade. I've had a lot of losses, and I've had, and the fans know I've had health issues, and my health is fine. But
It was a rough time.
it's been a very rough decade,
I know.
and this this has come out completely out of the blue. There's been a number of things I've turned down over the last years, not daytime, but other things that I've said no to, just because they didn't appeal to me. And I'm at a point in my life where I only want to do things I want to do. I'm 71. I turned 71, despite what some of the what websites have me down at 69. No, I'm 71 on Saturday. But
We're both January babies.
yeah, yeah. Um, I I just want to do what makes me happy. And this character is just been fabulous. And she's, I'm working. I'm here. We're 4 weeks ahead on the schedule, and I'm here. And my youngest daughter is here in LA, so that's my bonus. I get to see Georgia, and and I've got friends here, and touching base with old friends and seeing new people, and this is a beautiful company here. I mean, the Y&R is a wonderful group of people, and being an East Coast girl, we always kind of look down our noses at the West Coast shows,
I
just
know,
like
but
they
like
look
to be like
noses
that,
at us.
right? It was like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I could not have been more wrong about this show, um, and how I've been treated so well here. They've been so good to me, and every department. That means everything from hair and makeup to wardrobe to lighting, the camera people, props, everyone is so lovely. And then we talk about the cast and the writers. I mean, so many of the writers came from World Turns, not just Josh Griffith, but so many on the staff, which is great because that means they knew my work and they knew what I could do. And I think that has a lot to do with where this character has been going, is they know what they can expect me to do. or
I think
what they can throw me.
if they throw
And
you, you can
yeah,
handle it. Yeah,
yeah.
they know you can handle it. And I was going to say, you make such a great point. I feel kind of the exact same way, and I'm trying to make myself do more of it. At this part of my life, I also want to do the things I want to do.
Your music.
My music, which is I'm back in the studio right now. I'm working
Good.
so my music's so important to me. And some other things I'm working on. And I really, and I'm like you, like I want to make sure I fulfill those things for myself, that I don't want to leave this earth not knowing that I didn't tap into that and try or enjoy doing it or whatever. And I'm with you on that. And I've had health struggles over the last several years too. And so I so relate to you so much in that, going through difficult times and then, something like this happens, right? And unexpectedly.
Mhm.
I have always been so much in your corner, and I've admired your strength and your tenacity. I think if I look at anybody with that, it's you. And I so appreciate and value that. That's
Thank you.
why I think you're so special.
Thank
And
you.
I think a lot of people don't know, like, life is hard. People go through things, and especially when you're a performer or you can't do that, or your other things are happening. And um, I just hope when you get to tell your story, if you ever write a book, um, I hope people will be inspired by your story, because I am.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
I
Very,
just wanted to tell you
thank,
that.
thank you. I sit here and take a paper towel to my
It's,
eye.
they're mentioning Ming Hua and Peyton List.
Oh
We
my
forgot
God, Ming.
Ming,
Oh,
Ming Na Wen, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Leah Salonga.
Leah Salonga. Oh my gosh.
I saw, pardon me, I saw her not that long ago, and I mean, she's just had this extraordinary career. And Ming I haven't seen, but Vivian Gundiger, our producer here, and Ming are very dear friends, and she sees Ming all the time. In fact, she saw Ming not that long ago. Um, but Leah, it's been a little bit since I've seen her, but oh my God, what a incredible career both of them have had.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah,
Well, I will leave you with Joy. Just said Colleen Zenk is just a fabulous actress. Colleen is knocking it right out of the park playing Jordan. And another Angie said, I always love to watch Barbara's character evolve over the years. So glad that AWT ended how it did with her character.
me too. Thank you.
Really, really do. There's so many sweet comments. My friend, it was so great to see you.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you for taking the time to do this. We are all loving your performances. Fine art is so fun and delicious to watch.
I promise I won't bore you. You can't call Jordan a boring character.
Not a boring character. Thus far. Yeah. But
Yeah, she just, she's just out to get those Newmans, that's for sure. And that means all of them,
all of them.
all of them.
That's fantastic. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens. Um, Please stay well, and thank you again. And everybody, you can watch Colleen Zenk on The Young and the Restless weekdays on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. And I will talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all the fans out there for all of your unbelievable support and birthday wishes. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.